Wasting away 12 pills a day to keep the anger away. There's nothing to say. The whole of my mouth is where it all comes down. I'm feeling thin. It's happening again. This is not the end. Me and you are running from the truth. I'm going home. Bury me, I'm going home.
Welcome back to Noise Avocation Podcast. I'm Ryan here with Jeremy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
That was Wasting Away by Antighost off their latest record, All My Friends Dig Graves. We have Dylan and Sean from the band to talk with them about their record and upcoming shows, etc. We'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, as always, check out Blast Beats Vinyl. Use our promo code NOISE for 10% off your first order. They've been dropping a ton of awesome stuff. Some exclusives, new metal, old metal, reissues, hard to find, stuff like Nightingales, the new Dark Throne, some really cool Cattle Decapitation reissues, all sorts of shit. Go to their website. It's in our episode description. Check them out. Otherwise, enjoy the interview. Dylan and Sean, thank you guys for jumping on the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
2 parts of Antighost. Is it anti or anti? I guess it would be either way, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of say it however you want, and it really just depends on where you're from and which way you hear it first. But it's really just, I mean, we don't prefer it one way or the other.
We don't really care.
If you were to say it, what would you say? Because would you say Antighost?
I would say anti.
You'd say anti. See, I'd say anti.
Would be ANTE to me.
I'd be like Antighost. Antighost.
Yeah. So
Michigan? This is totally complicated now.
Yeah, I think if I'm being if you really like stick the tie, like anti-ghost.
Yeah.
But I feel like usually I'm just casually saying like anti-ghost, but
I'm not anti-ghost. I believe that there's a ghost, so like anti-ghost sounds like different. I don't know. Yeah. Or we can be like, you know that band that put out All My Friends Dig Graves? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind how you guys came up with the name, or did you just have that like in your back pocket and decided to run with it?
I went through I had a laundry list of band names like when I was first starting the project, and I think Antighost was just the one that seemed like the best choice to me as far as like branding. It's one word. At the time, like it made the most sense to start with an A because it like would be at the top of like iTunes and stuff way back when iTunes was a thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even now it'd still be at the top of Apple Music and whatever you're streaming on, or if it's in your library. So, but yeah, I've actually, I wonder how many people really take that into consideration. Like, if you're a band that has an S name, because S is the most common letter, I would say, for records in general. I wonder how many bands like take it into consideration, like where they're going to fall in an alphabetical lineup, like online.
Well, so many people just don't do like just like a prerequisite Google search to see if something's taken. And that was something I really wanted to make sure. I was like, I don't want to get like, a year or two into this project and then find out that there's like all these different companies that are also using like the same imagery and stuff. And like when we first started, we used a lot of ghosts and like just like graphic tees and like promotion and stuff. And we've kind of moved away from that to try and differentiate ourselves because I feel like there's ghosts on like everything nowadays. So
right.
Yeah, it just kind of made sense.
Yeah, to kind of come up with your own thing over time and just let it evolve into what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
When did you guys start the band? And actually, before I get into that, so Dylan, you sing, correct?
No, Sean is the singer. I'm the
fucked
drummer.
it up. I had it backwards.
It's all good.
I just wanted to have that stated just so people know who's what in the band.
Yeah. So Sean is the singer, guitarist, and primary songwriter. I play drums, and then we have a third member, Andrew, who plays bass.
Okay, cool.
I congratulate you guys on pulling off the trio thing because that shit's hard, man. And to make it sound like as full as you guys do, it's pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, usually, like anytime I was ever in a band, it's always like get another guitar player, get another guitar player, get another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we've always had that discussion of like adding another guitar player or doing something like that, but I think it's just we've always felt the best as a three-piece, and in all honesty, like it makes everything a lot easier, like traveling, booking, like schedule-wise, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's nicer to just have three people. It's all you have to worry about, and
well, that and you don't have to like split your take more ways at a show because I'm sure like most venues don't pay bands accordingly to how many members they are. They're just like, you got this set rate and you can figure it out amongst yourselves.
Oh, dude, if it was that way, would everybody be in ska bands and shit?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say,
like,
I think
11 people to every band. It'd be like...
Yeah, we'd have a trumpet player, someone on the triangle, tambourine player.
Every band would be Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Every
whole lineage of members.
But I'm just imagining like Slipknot just like getting getting paid like $100 and like, all right, we got to split it 11 ways.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it had to be really rough for them in the beginning of shows to where they're like, and there could always be like, who gets the money first? So he's like, oh, I'm gonna take this amount. Like Corey Taylor's probably like, well, I'm Corey Taylor, so I'm taking fucking 30%.
So.
But dude, you only play the baseball bat. Like I'm not gonna. you don't get a big cut.
Yeah. Like the guy that bangs on kegs. They're like, really, you're not all that important. Like we'll give you 6%.
One of two guys that bangs on kegs. I don't know. I feel like we were always really smart. Like from the beginning, I think our first like few tours we would like pay ourselves. And we made like a decent amount of money, and it'd be like cool, like we each made like $30 a night, or we like after we fill up the tank, everybody can like get Taco Bell on the way home. But over the years we started an LLC and have just been putting all of our money into the bank, and then like when it comes time to like buy a van or a trailer or record or shoot a video or something, we don't have to pay out of pockets for ourselves. So it's just that way has worked out a lot better. And like, I don't know, if we all like took a cut after every show, I feel like we would all probably just, it wouldn't add up to like what we would end up spending on the band in like at a later date. So it's just been what works for us. So with three guys, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it'd be hard, if you got like all right, I made $500, man. I can just take like maybe like 2 of this and throw it over here, and then pretty soon it's like nothing's going back into the band. That totally happened.
Yeah.
It's actually
it's nice
that's
like
smart
to like do a giant merch order or something. You know, the funds are there instead of having to be like, all right, everyone pitch in $150, and then
and you got somebody like scrounging up
like
quarters and paying you like rolls of dimes and stuff.
I got this bag of cans.
And we need to get a hotel room. It's nice when instead of being like, okay, everybody like pitch in $40, we can just be like, we'll put it on the band card, and that way we all have like a bed and a shower and stuff. So
you're the first band that's at least admitted to that, that's smart. Very smart.
I mean, you're definitely probably not the only people that do it, like, for sure. I'm sure they're like huge bands do that shit all the time, but just like smaller, like indie bands, they don't think to do stuff like that.
I think I could see the Stray Cats like hanging out together back in the day like that. It's 3-piece.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been doing Antighost?
So I started I've been writing songs all my life, but I think like when I got to college, I went to film school and pretty quickly realized that like doing the whole film thing would be just as difficult as like doing the music thing, whatever making it is in either of those industries. So I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go all in and like pursue my passion. So I put together some songs in 2016 and recorded them and put out an album. And I kind of did it backwards. I put the record out so I could find band members instead of like having a bunch of people try out for something where they wouldn't know what it sounded like. I wanted to like get the music out and then see who had interest in it. So I actually took out a Craigslist ad, and that's how I met Dylan. And then we kind of had a rotating door of bassists over the years. So like our first release was 2016. I like to think we've been an active band since probably about like 2017, and I would say like 2018, 2019 is probably when we got like professional with it.
Was your first release a whole album, or was it just an EP?
It was an EP. It was 6 songs called Wolves and Sheep.
Okay.
And that was, I'm sorry, but did you say that was with you only, or is that with a whole band?
Yeah, that was just me.
Okay.
So I wrote the material and took it to the studio, and then we programmed the drums for it. I played guitar and sang, and then like me and my producer Mark Stewart, who owns and operates Radon Studio in Kego Harbor, he was recording it. And at the time we kind of just like shared the bass parts together.
Oh, that's great.
Honestly, I'll have
to check
was a
that
good way
out
to find
it up.
You said that you were doing film too. Do you do you guys' music videos by chance then, with that background?
Yeah, I've been super fortunate because like in film school there was a lot of people who wanted to work for free just to get, some like a credit that they could use to try and get roles in the future. So I had a lot of really talented filmmaker friends who would offer up doing music videos. And I would play a pretty big creative role in them. Like we would usually work like together and like co-direct. So I got to work with like Talon Rudel, TJ Leutz, and this most recent video we put out, my good friend Karsten, who co-directed and filmed the whole thing. So it's been cool because like I feel like there's a lot of the arts kind of intersect with one another, and film and music definitely do so a lot.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I watched that. We both watched that video today. Now, before I watched it, because you guys just put that out yesterday, correct?
Yeah.
From not hitting the button, I'm like, man, it's just gonna be like another. They're just gonna stand there and fucking play, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, holy shit, man! It's like a legit like MTV style video, and it sounds good. And you have like 67 other videos on your YouTube channel. So, how many videos have you actually made, as far as like music videos?
Well, thank you for saying those kind words. We appreciate it. I think we have probably like 7 or 8 music videos, and then a handful of like lyric videos that like friends have made that we've showcased.
Wait,
You're gonna look it up.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of hard to remember.
We
being honest.
We were working on. I think we could talk about this now because it's supposed to come out soon because we just signed the last paperwork. But we were in a film I don't know the name of it. I won't give away like any actors or directors, but we were asked to be in a film that shot out in Kalamazoo. Gosh, like 4 years ago at this point, I
Holy
think.
shit.
2019, yeah.
2019, yeah. So like 4 years ago. And we just got like the last contract to sign. So I think it's actually going to come out. I don't know where, but
Just quick interjection. We have seven videos that we've made, and then the eighth one is the one that I'm assuming you're referencing.
One talent made
Okay.
by himself in California.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we were working on this film, and one of the guys from the film crew came and was just like, "Hey, we shot a bunch of just stuff of this actor walking around the city and stuff. Do you guys just want to like take it and make a video out of it?" So we've been super fortunate in like working with a lot of. I feel like we have a lot of good like creative karma. From like housing touring bands or like helping people book shows, and it comes back in our way like with people offering to do like free photography or free videos, and we do pay artists as well, like when we go to hire someone. But we've had a lot of people who are kind enough to say like, hey, I just want to be part of this, and I'm willing to just hand you something that's already done, which has been super cool. So
yeah, that's awesome. So coming up, what led you to this style of music, that kind of like the post-punkish emo like sound?
So I think we kind of all grew up in the like early 2000s emo pop punk kind of umbrella of like like My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday, Used, like Blink-182, Green Day, like all of that, just kind of like more mainstream punk emo stuff. And we were all big fans of like the 90s grunge stuff, like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all of those bands as well. And then I'd say like individually we all have very distinct tastes when it comes to stuff outside of that range, because we all like in the Venn diagram, I think there's a lot more outside of that than would be like connected for all three of us. Because like I listen to a lot more like indie alternative stuff. I would say Sean's more into like, what would you say?
I listen to everything.
Yeah,
but yeah, well, like we all have like pretty broad ranges, but we all like meet in the middle with stuff. Like I think that what like really pushed me in the direction of our sound is I watched some bands that I really enjoyed their live performances, like 21 Pilots and then 1975, and I was like, okay, if this is like kind of the energy I want my music to have, it needs to take a certain shape. And my two favorite bands growing up were Nirvana and My Chemical Romance, and I think that like we definitely wear our inspirations on our sleeves, but like instead of like just sounding like Nirvana, it's kind of like, what if Nirvana wrote an emo song, or what if My Chemical Romance wrote a grunge song? And there's a lot of like overlap with other bands too that have inspired us. But the cool thing is like nobody really puts anything on like in the van, and everybody like was like, oh my god, can we turn this off? Like you, unless we had a really rough couple of days. But for the most part, everybody listens to kind of everything. So like our like influences come from like Tool, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like I listen to a lot of emo rap. Dylan listens to a lot of bluegrass. Like we're all over the place, and we kind of just like just pick and choose stuff.
Yeah, you guys definitely have like
is weird.
I mean, that's a good thing though, like better than just pigeonholing yourself to one style of music. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you guys is definitely, your sound definitely has like a very upbeat, but it does remind me a lot of like you guys said, like post-hardcore, kind of emo type of stuff in the early 2000s. Like Senses Fail would have been another one that I would have said. And
I thought like From Autumn to Ashes, guitar-wise, kind of sounded like that.
Oh, cool. I'm not familiar. I'll have to check them out.
See, that's what's cool is like maybe you guys, the bands, both listen to the same and then type of music, and then you kind of come out sounding similar and not even fucking listening to the band. I think that's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We actually saw Senses Fail Southpaw open for them. If you remember.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Was that on the I never remember the name of that band. What band is Kellen Quinn in?
Sleeping with Sirens.
Was that the Sleeping
No,
with
this
Sirens?
was at the Stash in Grand
Oh,
Rapids.
okay.
If you remember that show.
Yeah. No, but that's really cool. I mean, that's probably been one of the more fun things of like interacting with people who've taken the time to listen to our music. Is like I feel like we get a few like typical ones like The Used or My Chem or Nirvana, and then usually there's always like someone throws in like a Thursday or like a Senses Fail or something that we might not be like as familiar with. And then it's always exciting for me to go listen to those bands and be like, oh, okay, I kind of hear it here or whatever.
Yeah,
Because when we started,
there was like a
everyone
whole
just, like,
mess of that stuff
Green
in the early
dude.
2000s. I mean, like they were everywhere. Silverstein, Chiodos, like there was. It was like a good like 5 to 8 year span where all those bands kind of had the same sound, but in their own way, they had their own sound as well. Like you could, they were distinctive from each other, but same style of music for sure.
Yeah, I remember we played the SJC. What was the
Vans SJC showcase?
Yeah. And afterwards, the owner of SJC, Mike, came up to us and he was like, yo, have you ever listened to this band? Like, you guys sound exactly like them. And it was like this band from like 98 that had one album out. And we were like, oh, cool. Like, most people have never heard of this band before. But yeah, we did sound a lot like this band. And we were just like, oh, cool. Like, there's so many just like weird, one-off bands from that era that we can get compared to that I'm always stoked to hear. So
It's cool. It's always like accidental too. Like I'll come into rehearsal with a new song or something and people be like, wow, this is like different from what we normally do, but like still rooted in like the Antighost sound. And be like, yeah, I just learned a Eric Clapton song that inspired like this fast punk thing, or like listening to like Have a Nice Life and then being like, cool, how can we like get this emotion but through like our sound?
Yeah.
So it's always cool to hear like where it comes from.
Yeah, I like that you guys have a wide musical palette. That's something we're both like that too. Everything is we give a chance at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with like the guests that y'all have had on, kind of like range in a lot of different genres, and that's one of the things that like Tristan was telling me about the podcast. He was like, they'll probably have you guys on. I was like, okay, sick.
Yeah, like he had mentioned you guys before, like a while ago. Like I talked about it before we started, but he brought you guys up to me probably 2 years ago, I want to say now. So I was aware of the band, but then like, we get busy in between the store and the podcast and whatever. I just, it slips your mind. But I was glad that you guys reached out because I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Tristan's roommate has a band. And typically like this sound and era of stuff is not something I'm always listening to. But when I went and started listening to you guys' record like in its entirety, I was like, oh, this reminds me of this band and this reminds me of this band. So I like started going back on a rabbit hole back to like junior high and stuff, to where I was like, I haven't heard this in forever and this in forever. But I actually really enjoy the record. Like I wasn't like in love with it at first, and then it grew on me where I was like, this is actually pretty good.
Ah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
And that's nothing, like, I'm not trying to say anything against you guys whatsoever. Yeah. Like, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It was just, like, not what I was looking to hear at the time. But then the more I played it, I was jamming it last night and this morning and stuff. And I played it in the record store earlier. And there were people in here that were like, oh, who's this? And, so that was cool.
Oh yeah, thanks, bud. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I tell people all the time because I have family members, who love and want to support the band, and I'm fully aware that it's not always everyone's taste in music. So like, I'm the first to say like, hey, you want to buy a shirt or something, that's fine. You don't have to come to a show. Like, you don't have to listen to us constantly. Like, it's we are not everyone's cup of tea for sure. It's because we're trying to make something that is unique, so we know that it's not Taylor Swift, right? It's not gonna reach everybody in the same way. So whenever someone listens to us for the first time, like, I'm never offended if they're like, yeah, it's not really what I usually listen to, because you can't be perfect for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean,
everybody's
true on
gonna,
my part,
everybody's
too.
gonna be into this, that, and the other, and it might not be. But I always try to like at least give something a shot to where I'm like, well, let's see. Like, you never know. It could be my next favorite thing, or I could hate it, or I could just be meet in the middle somewhere, and I don't love it at first, and then it grows on you. I mean, I've had stuff that I heard like years and years before, went back and listened to it down the road, and didn't like it in the beginning, and then loved it later on.
That just happened with me with I think when I was like 13, I listened to Turn on the Bright Lights by Interpol.
Yeah.
And absolutely hated it. I was like, this record sucks.
It's so good.
It's not my cup
I was
of tea.
I was 13
Really?
and I was
Like
like, this
that
album
Interpol
sucks.
record?
It's boring.
It's like
His voice sounds weird.
it's like modern Joy Division.
It's not my thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good way.
But
to
you
put it.
love Joy Division. I'm surprised.
I
at
do
that.
think that is, like, as a band though, that's like all we can ask is like, hey, if you take the time to check it out, like watch a video or listen to a song, like that, that means the world to us, especially in a day and age where like we're competing with not just other bands, but TikTok and streaming, and there's shows and there's podcasts. There's so much media to consume. So if someone takes the time to check us out, like, that's awesome. And when we play shows, like, the way we kind of approach everything is like, we're just going to go as hard as we possibly can. And if people don't like it, they might not like it, but people are going to remember our set, whether they liked it or not. So we try to at least be like entertaining in that way, because we take our jobs like super seriously, but we also have a ton of fun doing it. So
yeah, everybody will always
kind of the way
remember
we
the
approach
band
it.
that had fun playing. Like,
Yeah.
nobody wants to watch the band that's up there like, fucking play the solo right, you piece of shit, arguing with each other and stuff. Like, they want to watch people that look like they enjoy what they're doing, because then it makes everybody else enjoy it just as much.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like, is this guy gonna hit this guy or whatever? And that might be entertaining on its own, but
That's what I noticed about the video, even, is like immediately you guys are jumping around, spinning, craziness. Definitely cool.
No, I mean, we had our friend Tyler Conway filled in on bass for us for one tour, and we were getting up for our first performance together, and he was super, super nervous, and he was like, like, I'm really hoping I can remember everything and like hit all the notes. And I was like, dude, no one comes to an Antighost show to see us hit all of the correct notes.
Right.
They come to see us throw ourselves around on stage and just like go absolutely wild. So I was like, if you miss a couple notes, that's fine. Just like look like you're having the time of your life doing it.
Yeah.
So,
playing the best you can doesn't mean playing perfectly.
Yeah.
It just means, and like the other thing too is like, how can I expect people in a crowd to like mosh or like, bob their head back and forth or like get into it if I'm not into it,
Yeah,
and
for
not
sure.
saying that everybody needs to like thrash around on stage, but like you were saying, like, you can tell when a band is not enjoying what they do, and you can tell when a band is. And it's, our favorite thing in the world is performing. So I feel like we're always authentic in that way for sure.
yeah, nobody wants to like watch the guy that looks like he's working the worst job ever on stage, to where he's just like, man, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here.
oh yeah.
So when you guys you're talking about touring, do you have an upcoming tour? Do you just get off a tour? What's your summer look like?
There's like a little
so-
mini tour in April coming
Yeah.
up, it looks like.
Yeah, we got a little run coming up in April, just like hitting around some spots in the Midwest that we like to play at, like Madison and Chicago, Columbus, a few Michigan dates and Ohio dates and stuff. And then, yeah, we're just going to continue to book out throughout the summer. I don't know when this comes out, but I'm just going to say it anyways. We're going to be playing Pug Fest this summer, the Pleasant Underground Festival that's taking place in Ferndale. We aren't announced on it yet, but I'm assuming by the time this comes out, we'll be fine.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be fine.
I mean,
to
even
be honest, I don't even know when this is going to come out, so I can't give you a straight
That's
answer.
fair.
But I mean, even if we
it'll be a couple weeks out, I know that for sure.
It was a not very well kept secret that we're on Pugfest.
Yeah,
so.
I think most people know, but yeah. So I mean, we book a lot. Like we play a lot, we tour a lot. So we're kind of balancing a little bit of time off, here and there in between larger runs. With being in the studio, we're working on some demos for the next record. Trying to get those like ship shape before we hit the studio and actually record the damn thing. So yeah, busy, but we usually have a lot of different goals in the fire.
You guys are living a fucking dream.
Yeah. we're staying busy for sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
That was going to be another thing I was going to ask after that, is if you have another record that you're working on or not, because your last one, All My Friends Dig Graves, was done 2022, if I have that correct.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
we have a very, I think, unique song. I don't know if it's super unique. I don't know really how other bands go about the writing process, but chances are by the time an album is recorded and released for us, we have the next album almost done.
You're already
we are constantly writing. Yeah, we're constantly writing, constantly working on stuff. Like, if there's a song that we really like, but it doesn't really have a spot on the record we're currently working on, sometimes we'll push that off to the next record and then be like, all right, we'll come back to this at a different time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're constantly writing and working on stuff. And...
Well, I think I do that more so out of like insecurity. Like I'm terrified of the day where I wake up and I like don't have a song to write anymore. So I feel like I can't like feel like a record is finished until I have like an almost completed idea of what the next one's going to look like. And the way that we write songs is kind of just like I usually write them on my own and like figure out how I want it to go, like structure and melody and stuff, and then bring it to the band. And Andrew and Dylan like finish my thought, and they like really bring it to life. And I feel like the more I'm writing, the more I'm like throwing at them, the harder it is to like have a cohesive voice. So I try not to bring something to them until I feel like I've really got something good. And I feel like this new record that we're currently working on is like the strongest that we've had in like our vision, and like as a unit we've been like really going over like every little detail like as a group, and it feels really good to do it that way.
Yeah, 2 years is a long time. I mean, it's a lot of touring, a lot of playing, so I'd imagine you guys have gotten a lot tighter, or you have different ideas like you said.
Yeah, for sure. I think COVID really took the wind out of a lot of people's
sails.
Yeah,
definitely. But I think now it just comes back twice as hard.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're feeling. Like I feel like this year is when we kind of like, not to say we weren't like playing shows and stuff, but this is the first year where we felt like instead of like clawing tooth and nail to be seen and to get people to come to shows, this is the first year where we've like been experiencing more growth instead of just like going back to the usual, but like we feel like we have momentum again, which is really cool and it's making us really excited.
So you guys' shows, is there a lot of bands out that are kind of in your vein of music as well around Michigan? Because I'm not super familiar with most of them. Or even just in the Midwest area in general.
Yeah, I was never really into that scene either.
I feel like we end up playing a lot of shows where there's a lot of bands that sound similar in our genre, but not quite what we do. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of like Midwest emo bands like that are like a little bit more like upbeat, twinkly, like very guitar, like tapping heavy. And then also we play with a lot of like metal bands and stuff on that side of the spectrum. So
that's cool.
So it's kind of like a mixed bag of shows then?
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah. It's cool that we kind of fall in this in-between spot where we can play with a pop group that like plays just like super upbeat, like not heavy at all music, and then we can also play with like a deathcore band, and somehow fit on both of those bills, So
yeah, our music
great.
is like, yeah, it can get really heavy. It can also get like kind of like melodic and poppy in some areas. So I feel like we fit with a lot of people. I wouldn't say there's a ton of bands that sound like us in the scene. Like everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but everyone's rooted in just like rock. So like there's some really good bands that are more like garage rock, and then there's other ones that are like more Midwest emo rock or like old school like hardcore punk. And like we are in a super fortunate position to be able to like play with all of them, just because I feel like our style kind of goes into it dips into different genres at
Definitely.
different times.
Like Ryan said earlier, it's not my style of music whatsoever, but I kept listening. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Thank you.
How long have you been with the guy we're not talking to, your bass player?
Andrew joined in November of 23, I believe. Does that sound about right?
23? Wouldn't it have been 22?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he moved into my house, I think it.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so he's been since November of 22, and we same kind of deal. We like held auditions because Dylan and I have been like the founding members, if you will, and we've just kind of had a rotating door basis, and he was the first one to come in and like really be dedicated to like touring as much as we need to tour, and really like focusing on playing the best you can, and like having the style and energy to his playing that really made sense for the band. And he's just been fantastic. Like
That's fucking
we
awesome.
love having him in as a performer, but like we also all get along super well, which is so important.
Yeah, once it becomes business, then what's the fuck's the point,
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people don't consider that 90% of being in a band is not the music part of it. It's the driving and rehearsing and like
you guys know what
all
your
of the
butts
stuff
smell like, socks, fucking
dude.
like all.
I mean,
that
we live in
good
a
stuff.
van. We live in a van together for weeks at a time, where we get absolutely no personal space. If there's even like a little bit of I don't like this person, it's going to be miserable, So
for sure.
Not to say that it's all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's plenty of times where like usually we're pretty good about knowing of like, okay, he's in a bad mood, or he didn't sleep last night, or he's stressed about the car or whatever. It's like let's give this person some space and let's go do our thing. But we're really good about like keeping each other entertained, and thankfully we're all like pretty much into the same stuff. So when we go on tour and we're like hitting up record shops and like comic book stores and trading card stores and stuff, we all enjoy doing those things. So it's like it's never like one person's the odd man out, like sitting in the car waiting for Dylan and I to finish looking at something.
You don't want him. You don't want to be like Lars and James, and he's like the Newstead over in the fucking corner, like.
I would think food would be like the main discrepancy on tour, because like everybody always likes different shit.
Yeah.
So you be at like 3 different restaurants all the time.
But I don't think you can be that picky.
That's more of it, is like when you're on tour, you're kind of just taking what you can get. Like we don't really go to like restaurants or like go out to eat much on tour. Like if you get Taco Bell while you're on the road, like that's
good.
gold.
That's
like
awesome.
that's an opulent night for us.
Taco Bell sponsor us.
Yes, please.
We usually
that.
pack food.
Do you guys? Obviously, you guys know who NoFX is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You guys ever read their book? Or was it like Bathtub?
I didn't know they had a book.
It's the
hepatitis bathtub, and read that. It's
okay. I'm gonna check that out. I read a lot of music biographies, so
that has some good tour stories in it. That
I can imagine.
You guys are like angels, I'd assume, compared to the shit in this book. So
cool,
definitely read that if you could get a hankering for some interesting stuff.
Cool. Oh yeah, I've burned through a lot of biographies, so I'll have to check that one out for sure.
Yeah, we do too.
you guys' last record that you did, before I ask just about like the recording process and stuff, what is the album cover? Like I can see that it looks like an octopus tentacle or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's
why is
it was
it
done by Chris
inside of
Herman.
There's like incremental like measurings on the side. Is it a beaker or something?
A mason jar.
It's a mason jar.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was done by Chris Herman. I sent him the album. I didn't give him any like imagery or colors, or I just said like listen to it and come back to me with some ideas. And he went and did a whole photo shoot. And it was with octopus tentacle in a mason jar, and he had these cool like reflective I don't know what they would be called, but like reflective sheets that he set up all around and had all these crazy lights and stuff. And he sent us probably like 80 photos, and that's the one that I thought was the most visually striking. And I imagined if I was a kid in a record store and I saw that, I would probably pick it up and look at it. So
yeah, no, it is really cool. I was staring at it, and like the more you look at it, I was like, oh, I see that there's measurements on the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't notice that at all at first.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just a right place, right time thing where he came to us with that, and we were like, "That's it, cool." Like we were really stoked on the concept, and we want to kind of give him the creative space to do whatever he wanted, and he kind of blew it out of the water. So shout out to Chris.
Yeah, all the artwork we had done on our previous releases too had been digital, and I don't regret any of them. I think they all turned out great. But I kind of wanted to move more into. I felt like that the last record was a huge step forward for us. And I wanted to do something different, so we went with a photo instead, and that's what Chris came up with.
So it's a real octopus tentacle then?
It is a real octopus bought from.
Purchased from an Asian mart, right?
Yes.
I think.
Is it? Wait, no, it's a squid, isn't it?
No, it's an octopus.
octopus?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
an octopus.
Potato.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but
I don't know. I don't remember what the difference between squid and octopus is. Isn't it like they have like one less set of legs or something?
yeah,
Their heads
squid
are
has
somehow
6 legs.
differently.
A squid would be way bigger, I think.
Yeah.
You can have small octopi, but
You can have small squids too.
yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't think
Let's
there's
get into
giant,
this.
Giant
Let's spend 20
octopus,
minutes
too.
talking about
Yeah.
the difference between squids and octopuses.
Yeah,
Let's
this
pull
is
up
an
an Animal
podcast.
Planet thing.
Yeah.
But the record itself sounds great. I mean, did you guys? You mentioned somebody that you recorded with earlier. Did you use the same guy for that album, or did you do it all yourselves?
Yeah, we've recorded all of our records at Radon Studio with Mark Stewart. So that's actually where the first EP was recorded with him. Sean and Mark worked closely together doing that. And
He's been like the 4th member of our band.
Yeah.
He really has like a huge hand in like shaping the sound, and he likes things to be very like or at least in the past very like methodically done and like very polished, and I like things that are like really raw and have a lot of mistakes and stuff. So I feel like he reins me in, and I kind of convince him to go a little more on the rawer side, and we meet in this beautiful middle ground. But we've grown with that studio. Like that studio is where we've gone for every record. And the first one we made in a college dorm room. The second one we made in his basement. And the third and fourth record were both done in a studio. But interestingly enough, halfway through the recording process is actually when COVID hit and they did like the very first lockdown. So everything closed. So everything's done in Radon Studio except for the guitars were recorded during quarantine in my basement.
Okay. Do you guys have plans to try to pitch that to labels at all, or are you just running solo with it for now?
I mean, for the next record, we're definitely interested in doing some pitching and reaching out to some people and kind of seeing where it goes. But it's just kind of we're gonna record it, we're gonna put it out no matter what. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna see where it goes and see where it takes us. But we're always gonna try our hardest to give it the best shot possible.
Yeah, the last record we did pitch, but it was at the worst time in the world for any label to try to take a chance on a new band when, nobody was making money on the road and giant artists were losing stuff on tours and stuff. So hopefully this time around we have better luck. But yeah, we're gonna try to shop it around. But if not, we'll probably put it out ourselves and tour the fuck out of it and see what the next one brings. But yeah, we're hoping to hear back from some people.
Right on.
I don't see how you couldn't, man. Like, from a listening standpoint, it fucking sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're hoping for the best.
I mean, it sounds pro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that like appeals to a larger audience rather than like.
Definitely.
I could see it being harder for like a death metal band to try to release, the next version of Hammer Smashed Face, and it like
for sure.
and it like pitched to a wide audience because it's gonna have a niche market. Whereas like you could put you guys' songs on like sort of a punk rock station or something like that to where it would blend in well, and like there's not all these like death metal stations out there, so I think it works in your favor that it appeals to a larger audience. And I mean, like Jeremy said, it has a great sound to it. Like, it sounds really professional. It has good energy to it. If I can catch you guys live, I would definitely check that out because it sounds and looks like you guys have a lot of fun playing live.
We certainly do. Well, thank you.
Maybe a little too much fun sometimes.
Appreciate the kind words. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that is the goal. Like, we're not writing songs with the intention of being popular, but like we do want to do this for a living, and I feel like we're kind of like halfway there currently. So we want to try to take this to a larger audience and actually be able to pay ourselves and fix our cars when they break.
Right.
So I appreciate you saying so. Because yeah, we're not one of those bands where like we feel like it's uncool to like have a career in music. Like that's what we all want. But at the same time, like we don't need to be.
I don't know why any band would think that. I mean, I know they're out there, and there are people that are like, "Fuck that, I'm doing it this way, and that's the only way," and that's fine. Do it your way. But like, I mean, you guys are on a good path.
It's like the old.
Definitely appeal to a broader audience.
Or having a career and do something
like
you love.
Punk mentality.
Yeah, and like that gets in your way sometimes. Like you can do everything DIY and kind of like just super raw and whatever, and it might hit, it might not hit. And I mean, you can do stuff the way you guys are doing, and it might hit and it might not hit. It's kind of timing and exposure and just consistency and how much you really believe in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we all kind of share the same like core belief of like, it would be awesome to play stadiums or headline, Reading or something like that. But like really all we need to be happy is just like playing clubs to kids who are really passionate about our music. And we always say like we play the same show to 5 people as we do 500, and we would always rather have an audience of, like 100 kids who are really stoked to see us rather than like 2,000 who could give a shit. So
yeah, where they're all there to see like the headlining band and they're just like, fucking get past the openers. We don't give a shit about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I've been to those shows.
That's like he said. That's why we play.
Yeah, but the band usually
same
sucks.
way we to 5 people.
I know. The opening bands are like every time I've been at a show that has like a real long lineup, I always get there early to check out the opening bands because those are the guys that are like trying to prove in a way something like, and they're hungry still and they're playing like with their whole heart. Whereas like you might have a headliner this is their 40th stop on tour and they're just like, all right, let's get this fucking over with and play to these idiots so I can leave. And like they don't even put on a good show, or like, the opening band I've seen a lot of times smoke the headliners.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they're hungrier for sure.
I mean, that's like the difference between watching like college basketball versus the NBA. It's like I feel like every time I've watched an NBA game, it's like, all right, they're just playing, but like the college players are like they seem like they have something to prove, Well,
yeah, because they literally do. I mean,
they'll take bigger risks and shit.
Where, yeah, in NBA, they're just like, watch me dribble for $100 million contract.
Yeah.
So we talked about Pugfest earlier. What is Pugfest?
So Pugfest is put on from the Pleasant Underground. They're a DIY booking safe space. They do shows. They book around the entire state and mainly the like Metro Detroit area. They are putting on a festival called Pugfest 2, Welcome to Pugdale, and it's 15 plus venues, 150 bands, live art battle, short film festival, comedy showcases, local vendors. So it's going to be a bunch of like DIY bands from around the Midwest, and then there's some pretty big names on there too, like Belmont, Prince Daddy the Hyena, Retirement Party. So there's going to be like house shows all peppered throughout the city of Ferndale, and then there's going to be like shows at breweries, shows at the Loving Touch, and then like the art battles and comedy stuff. So you can get a weekend pass, and go see some art, support some local vendors. And the date on that is June 28th through the 30th. And we're going to be playing that with a lot of really great bands and friends. It's going to be a good time.
Awesome. Sounds like a fucking fun thing to check out if you're down in that area for sure.
I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to find you guys on the flyer. There's like
they're
so
not
many...
on there yet.
Oh, they're
I
not.
don't think.
We're not. Yeah, we're not
on the flyer
announced.
There's so
We're
many
not
bands
announced,
on
but
there. I'm like reading through.
I think we're coming in the next wave of bands. But I know all those guys pretty well. I don't think they're going to be mad if we break the news here before. We're giving them plenty of promotion, so
Yeah. And I mean, what was I going to say?
how'd they do it every year?
Yeah, they do it every year.
They do it every year.
Shoot.
How long
Before
has
it's
it
been
going
at the
on?
Crowfoot. This is the first year they're doing it like citywide and like incorporating like all types of local art, like with comedy and short films and stuff instead of just music. So it's gonna be really cool, and people fly from all over the country for it, which has been awesome.
That's what I
We
was
had
gonna
some
say.
people last year, yeah, from some crazy faraway places like California and Florida and stuff. So we're anticipating the same thing. It's gonna be awesome for the city of Ferndale. It's going to be awesome for the music scene in general, and we're really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through like their Instagram page, just checking out stuff that they've done in general. I like the name because I have a pug, so that's cool to me. But
Yeah, Pleasant Underground is a godsend to the local scene in Metro Detroit, or I mean, just Michigan in general, and like even extended past that in Midwest. Like anytime someone messages us and is like, "Hey, I'm trying to book a show in Detroit. Like, is there anyone who can help out?" It's like, "Yep, Pug will."
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Even like what I always tell people is even if they can't do it, they will put you in touch with someone who can.
Yeah.
So there's not a group of kinder, more caring, more passionate, harder working individuals than the people at the Pleasant Underground. My buddy Kyle Minch, and all the people who work with him. We love them very much, and we're excited to be a part of Pugfest and see how it continues to grow because it's just super cool the way that they give back to the scene, and we're super thankful for it.
it says that they're a non-profit. Do they like donate proceeds to animal charities or something?
They do charity. They've done a number of charity events, but they don't take any cut for any of the shows that they do. They give it all to the bands. They usually supply, like pizzas for people, and they really, really go out of their way to make it a safe space for everybody, which I think is like the most important part of the shows that they work with. And they do everything from like DIY basement shows to like booking shows, at venues like the Sanctuary and the Loving Touch. And one of the things that we do with them every year is the Painfully 90s show, which is like a cover show where we have a bunch of local bands come out and do a cover set of their favorite band from the 90s. So we've had some bands do Green Day, doing like the Dookie album, or doing Soundgarden. We've done Nirvana in the past. We've done Alice in Chains. So they really have their hand in like so many different aspects of the scene. It's super awesome.
That's cool. So there was a video on you guys' Instagram. Oh, I see it now. There's a wrestling ring there. I was gonna say, what's up with this?
Yeah.
What's up with this dude like these two guys wrestling at your merch table?
So we played a show in. First off, shout out to the Pittsburgh music scene because they are crazy.
I love Pittsburgh.
So we had played a venue a couple times in Pittsburgh, and we were going back and trying to book a show, and the venue we had played at wasn't available. So, but the guy who was booking it was like, "So we can't get this venue, but we do have another one that's available. It is a wrestling ring." And so you're going to be playing,
Dude,
and then
totally
in between the
fucking
sets, there's going to be like
Amateur wrestlers.
amateur wrestlers
So
that will just like do.
Really quick, I just want to specify. So this isn't like the WWE type of wrestling. Like it's like the guys who they like it's all scripted and stuff, and it's, you know, air quotes fake, but they're like really injuring themselves.
Oh,
like
yeah.
more because it's like underground, so they're trying to make a name for themselves. So it gets crazy.
So it gets hardcore as fuck. Are they doing like
Oh,
just
yeah,
mad
for sure.
suplexes and oh yeah, dude, I'm watching
Yes,
it now.
yeah.
No, it's
They're
fucking
like
mullets everywhere,
they're
dude.
going,
Fucking
they're
bullets.
going for it.
Dude, right on the
But
merch
so yeah,
table,
we
man,
showed
yeah.
up.
Yo, bleeding and sweating on my t-shirts. What the fuck?
Well,
in the
at
middle
first,
of
like
the
when I seen
show.
the video, I didn't see the wrestling ring, so I'm like, what happened? Like, did they just these two guys showed up in their underwear and they're like, "Yep, we're here to fucking wrestle."
It was
So the-
basically a show that we booked, and they were like, "We no longer have a venue for it. We can put it in this venue, but there's a wrestling show happening that night." So the kind of like workaround that they worked out with the venue was like, you can still do the show, we can still do the wrestling, and we're just gonna go back and forth. Band, wrestling match, band, wrestling
That's
match.
fucking
So as you
sick.
climbed up the lineup and got closer to the headliner, the wrestling also got better and better.
That's actually a
It was
really
sick.
cool idea
Yeah.
for a show, to be
Like, it's-
honest
Yeah.
with you.
That could be a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, because there's people out
was
there that like adore
cool.
wrestling
Fuck
that
yeah.
would go. Like
Oh,
if you
yeah.
mixed like, you know, different types of hardcore metal punk bands with in between wrestling matches, that could be like a whole new festival.
You guys know like God's Hate, right? Word of God's Hate.
The name sounds super familiar.
They're it's like it's a hard straight edge hardcore band, but their singer is a wrestler.
Oh, he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know that.
Little crossover.
I
there.
don't
How
I don't
did we get that
just
video?
know
Were
it.
you filming, Dylan?
I think that was Andrew.
I think, or maybe someone sent it to us.
It looks
At least
like
they did.
somebody was like
it-
on the side of the merch table. Because you can see a
'Cause
bunch
I
of
wasn't
people
there,
in
I
like
heard about it.
Antighost shirts and stuff, like up front. And then the dude gets his head hit like on the merch table.
Yeah. Okay. We should explain. I guess we should explain for the listeners what actually happens in the video.
So it was in the middle of one of the matches. They like got out of the ring and were like wrestling in the crowd and stuff and doing like crowd work, and it was really cool. And then the one of the dudes grabs the other one and like grabs him by the back of the head and slams him into our merch table on top of our merch, like head into one of our t-shirts.
I think
Like,
he screamed like, "You want a shirt?" or
Yeah.
something like that, and then threw him down. Because I remember I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't in the venue, and I came back and people were like, "You're not going to believe what happened." And then I was asking people about it, and someone was like, "I got it on video." So
Yeah.
you can go to @Antighost Music on Instagram, and if you scroll down far enough, you'll see
Yeah.
it's the only guy in like tidy whities on our timeline.
because you can hear someone after he gets slammed, someone just goes, "Not the merch."
Yeah, I think even like the caption for it says "not the merch."
I was a little disappointed he didn't just get like suplexed through the table,
Yeah, that's
like
what,
on
that would've
top
been
of our merch.
sweet.
That would be so fun. Like I would have been a little upset because I was like, "Damn, dude, that's my shit," but
at the back of
it would
the
have been
table.
so funny.
No, I think
It
that
made
would
for
have
good
been.
content.
I mean, people would remember that shit. Like just
Oh,
the wrestling
definitely.
show in general. I remember, but having somebody pick you up and slam you through a table, like, they'd be like, that's the
That's-
band that got their
that's
merch
definitely one of
destroyed
the-
by a fat sweaty guy.
Right.
Definitely one of the most memorable shows we've ever played, and we've played a lot. So
For sure.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through like when I was looking at the Pugfest thing, and I was looking at you guys' previous shows, and I clicked on that video, and I had to ask because I was like, there's a story here. There has to be.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
I think that was Andrew's second tour with us, right?
Honestly, I can't remember. That feels like so long ago. Yeah. It might have been.
Yeah, it was dated. The video was like March of last year, so it was a while
ago.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it probably would have been his second or third run.
I remember he was pretty fresh, and I was like, Andrew, I promise it's not always like this.
Yeah,
like
trying to be like, this is not the norm. Trust me.
And he
oddly
quits
enough,
the band. He's like, damn it, it's not the norm.
He quits to become a wrestler.
Yeah.
That is oddly not the first show that we've been offered with wrestling. I think we had like 3 other shows that were supposed to be like the same thing, where it was like band wrestling event, and all of them like fell through. I think like we had like time commitments, or like the show got canceled. So that's the first one we actually did. But it happens surprisingly more often than you would think.
Yeah, I would think not more than once, really. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I guess like if that's an area that has wrestling going on, but they're also allowing bands. It's cool that they allow both, though, because a lot of places would be like, well, I already have this event pre-existing, so we're not going to tie in this with this. But I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Like, people like wrestling, people like music.
I think it's a cool idea to like mix arts like that a little bit more, because I might be stretching a little bit calling wrestling an art, but like it is like a physical art of like throwing yourself around like that,
and it's a form of entertainment.
Yeah,
I mean, I was gonna say the same thing. It's so hard to get anyone to pay attention to what you're trying to do nowadays.
Yeah.
And like trying to have your passion project become your career is so difficult to get eyes on it. So like I always tell people, like, go out of your way to support local art. Like, it doesn't even have to be us or our band, but like support some local band, support some local filmmaker, or comedian, or painter, or someone who's trying to get involved in fashion. Like, we're all like trying, like, the world needs people creating art just as much as it needs anything else. So like, go out of your way to support those people, because odds are they're starving and working their butts off, and like
support your local record stores, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Seriously, they're providing a service. Like, y'all are providing a service. Like, I tell people the same thing about like fucking comic book stores, or like local video game stores. Like, I don't want to see a Starbucks and a GameStop. I would rather see like a mom and pop coffee store and retro games or whatever. Like, that's the world that I want to live in, and that's what we try to practice what we preach, and do the same in supporting that, so.
Well, yeah, because when you go to a chain comic store, if there's even any left, actually, because I think most of them are pretty much mom and pop shops at this point, but like coffee store
like
would
Barnes
be a better
and Nobles,
example.
Maybe you'd have comics.
I don't know if they sell comics, but
they do now. They do like a whole like manga section and stuff.
Oh, okay. But you go to
They have
like a
Junji
coffee
Ito
shop
books
or
in Barnes and
whatever,
Noble.
like Starbucks don't give a fuck about your like $5 to $20 purchase, but like that independent store, like shit, that could have been all the money they made all day. Some days,
Exactly.
Like it happens. Like I've got days at the record store where I make $5. I've got days where I make 5,000. I've got days where I make nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure y'all see the effects of like Amazon and stuff, because like it's convenient like that. Nobody wants to leave the house anymore. You can just sit and go, oh, I need this new record's coming out, I'm just gonna go get the Target color variation.
I printed a sign at one point to put in the store that I never did, just because I didn't feel like arguing with people. But the sign said, if you are saying to yourself, I can get this on Amazon, you're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but there was like so many people that were just like,
dude, that'd be over so many fucking
I know
heads,
they wouldn't. They wouldn't
like,
get it. Like
what?
So, because I can't tell you how many times like you overhear people talking in the store or whatever, and they pick up a record and they're like, oh, $28, and then they're like, oh, I can get it on Amazon for $26. I'm like, yeah, but it's in your hand right now, and it's $2 difference. Like, I can understand if it's like
200 and you can get it for 20 or whatever, like, sure, I get it.
Oh yeah,
go for it. But if it's like a couple dollars, like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a really awesome music store by us called Huber Breeze, and like their guitar prices are like, whenever I'm at their store and I like see a guitar, like I'm like, oh, like I'll check out, like, see if there's other colors online, and like, yeah, I could go to Guitar Center and get a used one for, $30 cheaper or whatever. And this only happened one time because I don't buy guitars every other week.
Right.
But like, I was like, no, I'd rather support, the store that is owned by a dude where I know his first name and he recognizes me from last time I came in and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you don't feel like an unwelcomed customer, because like a corporation doesn't, I mean, they don't know your name, they don't know your preferences, they don't know, like, you come into like a record store, a music store, a musical instrument store, like, and you're a regular, like that guy or girl or whatever who owns it might be like, oh, I found this, thought you might be into it, check it out, that sort of thing. Yeah. Like, you don't get that when you go to like a corporate store.
Mm-hmm. We used to walk up to we have a local video game store, Chaotic Games, and I used to walk up there with my son like once a week, and that got to where, like Ryan's saying, he just like, he knew like, oh, I got this, and if you're interested or that, and like he just knew we were looking for these types of games or whatever it was at the time, So
yeah, it's like a sense of community.
Definitely, and if you guys ever vacation up here, we'll show you around.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But I mean, yeah, we're like big into like trading card games, and it's really cool. Like, you could probably go online and get whatever you're ordering for super cheap, and not have to leave the house and just like do it super easy. But I love the experience of like going into a card shop and like talking to the employees, and like I remember ordering a deck once, and I went to pick it up, and the guy there was like, oh dude, like this I can like tell what deck you're building because of the cards you ordered. So,
and then you just nerd out.
You get these. Yeah, he just nerded out at me for like 20 minutes and like basically rebuilt my entire deck like in front of me, and then I was like, sick, like this is so much better than it would have been otherwise. And like, that dude knew me from the previous times I was in.
From the last deck you bought.
Yeah.
So I love those like little interactions you get to have when you get to like go to a local record shop or a local card shop or a comic book store or video game shop,
Yeah, we got really into Magic the Gathering over the pandemic, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I won't name the stores but there are 2 stores by us where we've had like bad interactions with the owners, not us personally, but like we've just seen the way the owners have like treated their employees and other customers. And like, we drive 30 minutes out of our way to go to a different game store because the people there are so friendly. And like, to be honest, their prices are worse than the other 2. But like, I would rather spend my money, especially if it's only like a dollar difference or whatever, supporting that place where like I feel safe and I know the employees are treated well and everyone's really friendly, because like those are the people I want to be going out of my way to support rather than just whoever has the cheapest product I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you sell yourself in business along with your product. And I think some people make the mistake of like, oh, they're going to buy it or they're not going to buy it. Like, no, like you could be the deciding factor that makes them buy it or not. Like, if you come off as some condescending asshole, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to buy from this guy. But you never know. They could have been on the fence, and you could have been like super encouraging or whatever the case may be, and like you made that sale just based off of personality.
Yeah, and you also have the opportunity to like make someone's day too. I mean, like, I think a lot of bands make that mistake, honestly. Like, they play their set and they're like, well, if someone's gonna buy a shirt, they'll come up to the table. And it's like, when they come up to the table, like, you say like, hey, how's it going? And it's not like, oh, please buy a shirt, but interact with them like it's another human being. And I've been to record stores where I've like looked at something and people be like, I don't know why everyone wants this fucking record, and I'm like, cool, now I feel embarrassed and I don't want to buy it.
Yeah,
but like the few occasions where like someone be like, oh, hey, you're into Mad Season, that's cool, man, how old are you? And I'm like, wow, awesome, somebody wants to talk to me and not make fun of my fucking music choices. Like, you don't realize like what people are going through in their personal lives and like how much a small interaction like that can really like turn their whole week around.
Fucking A.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we start wrapping things up here, first, do you guys have anything that you guys would like to add?
I guess I would just say, like, do you want us to like do all of our plugs at the end and stuff?
Nope, you don't even have to do that. It'll all be in the episode description.
Beautiful.
Sick. Cool.
We make
I
it
would- I would
super
just say-
easy for people to like find and follow you because people are lazy. So like everybody
I
can
lo-
look.
I actually
just go
like
click.
doing
I
that
like
part.
it too, but I'm just saying like
we're weird. We like promoting shit.
I want people to
Yeah, I'll
find
just
you
throw out
guys'
the-
page and your different shit like that. So like your Instagram will be in the episode description, like Bandcamp, all that stuff. I'll put it all in there.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just do a quick plug for the video and say my spiel about local art real quick. If that's
I'll
cool.
even put the
go ahead,
video
bro.
in there too.
Spiel away.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I guess I would just want to say first and foremost, thanks so much for having us on. We really appreciate it. And to anyone listening, if you made it this far, thank you. We're pretty easy to find online. Check out the new video we just dropped for our song Still Alive. And like we kind of talked about in this episode, go out of your way to support local art. Like find a local band that you can get into, or your friend that does comedy, or your cousin who does short films or whatever. Go to your local record store, or your local game store, or your local comic store. Don't go to Amazon or Target or any of those fucking chains. Support local art because this shit's really difficult. It's really expensive, and the people who are doing it because they love it, not because they're trying to get rich off of it. If they're the right kind of people. So support local art and lift each other up. Don't tear each other down.
Also support your local podcast.
Yeah,
Amen.
we should say that more often, but we don't. I got signs and shit in the record store, so
I want to start saying we're the #1 podcast in northern Michigan or northeastern Michigan, because then it's true.
Well, aside from
Yeah, there you go.
Because it's like the only one.
well, there's like fitness podcasts here that I know about, but other than that, I don't think there's any music
just
podcasts that I know of.
Music.
#1 music podcast in Northeast Michigan.
Correct.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's on our T-shirt.
I am.
You can take that the way like radios have like, yo, this is Eminem, you're listening to blah blah blah.
Yep.
We used to we had this band, a local band here, that we were selling their CDs, and my partner at the record store, his sales pitch for the CDs was they're selling more CDs than the Beatles, but we didn't have any Beatles CDs. So, like, he would always tell people like, oh, they sell out more than the Beatles on CD. Like, we got 1 million records, but like we don't have many Beatles CDs. And it was always an ongoing joke.
I actually have a question for both of you, if that's cool.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you could, if every person who came into your store went home with this record and listened to it from start to finish, what's the one record you would recommend everybody check out? Aside from Antighost, all my friends dig graves.
Just in general across all music.
Or
Yeah.
like
I know it's a really hard question.
That is a
but-
really hard question.
Can I ask like a sub question? Like, is it going to be
No,
like
you
the
cannot.
best representation of us, or do we think that it's the best sounding album, or we think, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
Just
a
a-
representative of you and like your music taste. Like, what do you think? Like,
Don't forget the struggle.
No.
Don't forget the streets, Warzone, or new school to old school, Warzone, or anything by Warzone, pretty much except that metal.
yeah,
album.
there you go.
Straight up, like that's easy.
Hell yeah.
Damn, dude, I'd have to like really think about this one, but just off the top of my head, like, yeah, that Warzone record's great, but Jeremy's much more fluent in hardcore than I am. Not that I don't listen to it. That's just like that's his bag.
Yeah, that's my bag.
I would go like more like Nas Illmatic, just because I'm more of like a
Oh,
hip hop
yeah.
person.
Yeah, see that could be on mine too as well. That's a good one.
That's a
And I think
damn
like
good one.
start to finish, it's like a perfect record.
Ready
And
to die.
Yep.
it's an accurate representation of like New York at that time. I mean, yeah, Ready to Die could be up there too, and there's a ton of them, but I was just thinking off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
like
man,
I could
it's
break that
fucking
down into like
perfect.
metal, jazz, hip hop.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
it could be all over
Yeah,
the
that's
place.
why I
We
was
could
like
fill
kind
2
of
more
asking the
episodes.
specific.
Yeah.
Now you got me. Now you got me thinking about that. I think
Well,
mine,
because they own and operate a local record store. I'm sure
That's
y'all
true.
get recommend. I don't know. I feel like
No,
there
I
might
like,
be times where
I
someone
like the
goes for a
question because it
recommendation.
makes me like dig through my brain of something that if I
Yeah.
did get, I have been asked that question in the store before, but or
Okay, like
something similar
recommended,
to
that would take me longer to think of, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna check out. I have listened to that Nas record, but I should probably revisit it. But I am gonna check out that Warzone album.
You should probably
Don't
buy
forget the
both
struggle.
of those albums. Don't even just blind buy them. You're good to go.
there you go.
That's fair.
Mine
But
would probably be,
before we finish, I know you guys mentioned earlier that you have a pretty diverse musical taste, but we
Yeah.
ask everybody this at the end of our episodes. What is something that you listen to that people would not expect or that they don't know that you listen to?
I was terrified you were about to ask the question I just asked. So.
I feel like my unexpected, like, for people who like know me and are around me a lot, like this will not be shocking at all. But for people who just know me as like the drummer in this like post-punk grunge band, it's gonna be pretty shocking. But I love like teen girl like indie pop. Like I'm a huge fan of like Olivia Rodrigo and like Chappell and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for.
That's the type of
Yep.
answer we look for in the question. So
Like Chappell-Roan's new record, Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, is it's a banger. It's so good.
The title's awesome.
It's such a good album
no
title
idea
too.
what it is.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, I'm a 25-year-old man, but like I will get down with this.
ain't nothing wrong with that at all, dude. I listen to some of that shit too. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I feel like it's pretty. I feel like no one would be surprised at what I listen to, but I'll try and get like my biggest like left field answer would probably be I'm a huge Tom Waits fan.
okay.
I feel like that might turn some heads that the pink-haired screaming guitar player in a grunge band really enjoys Tom Waits. Maybe not. I don't know.
He's
an
I would say,
acquired
yeah, he's
taste.
definitely an acquired taste. Like him and Nick Cave both are like, they have great songwriting, but I've just never been able to really get into them.
That's totally fair.
We were literally driving home from a show the other day, and I was asleep in the back seat and woke up, and Sean was playing Nick Cave, and I like came out of my slumber, and I was like, "What is this?"
He said this is the Hat Man music because I was playing a Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds album.
Yeah, he had a band before Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds called The Birthday Party. That was like a punk rock kind of band that I like more. But like his solo stuff, on paper, I would love it. Like when you read about it, when you look at it, everything, like it checks all the boxes for me. But then when I listen to it, I'm like, I just can't get into this.
That's fair. I would say, yeah, it's Nick Cave, Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen. Those are all artists where like if I send someone a playlist and they're like, I don't like this, I wouldn't be like, well, why? Why not? It's like, no, I totally get why people don't like that.
What's your favorite Leonard Cohen album?
Ooh.
Shit, this podcast is gonna go on forever.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of editing to do.
No, I leave all this shit in. That's stuff people like to know.
Because I love Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, I want to say, well, now my voice is, or my head is stuck in, what's the album that You Want It Darker is off of?
Is the album called You Want It Darker?
Yeah, it is. Okay, I didn't want to say it because I
it's in
really
the
didn't want to be wrong. Yeah, probably You Want It Darker or Various Positions.
I was gonna say Various Positions is.
I'm a songs
yeah,
of love and hate kind of guy.
Oh, okay. There's really no wrong answer.
No,
there.
no, there isn't. I don't think so either. But like we were saying before, Tom Waits. There's only like a couple of songs I'm even like, okay, but
That's fair. Yeah,
I think he does write great songs though.
Right,
like lyrically, like if you just
he's a
read
storytelling son of a bitch.
he writes some good shit.
He was also the inspiration for Heath Ledger's Joker.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, if you watch a Tom Waits interview, the voice is like early Tom Waits. The voice is identical.
Yeah, that makes sense now that you say that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that out when I go home.
Yeah, I'm a huge Batman nerd.
Fucking Batman every episode.
Yeah, Batman somehow sneaks its way into like half of our episodes.
Damn.
I don't know how.
I gotta pee again.
I'm a big Batman.
It's nice meeting you guys.
It was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much for having us on. This was a pleasure.
Guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool to talk to you guys, and I'll be in touch with you on Instagram.
It was awesome meeting you guys.
Yeah, you as well.
Likewise. You guys have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Peace.
Bye.